all hear me okay. If any of you can't, if you just want to pop up a chat, comment or a question or something like that and just let us know, but hopefully you can hear us all okay and everything is working fine. So welcome along everybody. This webinar, as the presentation slide says in front of you, is focused on and talking about SmartEVENT, and specifically Next Generation SmartEVENT, which is in the process of being launched, is out and available on the new management appliances now, and will be due and available on Open Server later in the year. And Tom Kendrick from Checkpoint is going to go through that in a little bit of detail, explain to you how it works. So I'm just going to go through sort of a brief intro presentation, nothing too long. I'll get out of the way as quickly as possible. A little bit about us, a little bit about this webinar, and obviously hand over to Tom for those of you that haven't met him. A little bit about us. I think most of you on the list of attendees are customers, so you probably already know this, so apologies for boring you. But we are Bytes Security Partnerships. We were purchased by the Bytes Group in August 2011. We were very lucky with that purchase and that acquisition in that they fundamentally left us alone. They haven't interfered with anything we do, which means for the end user point of view, you get the benefit of an independent reseller, but with the security and the purchasing advantages of being part of a large group, which is great, and it works very, very well for our customers. You know, I think the other point is, as an independent reseller, we were always very proud of what we did, and our service proposition really was all around service and actually caring when things go wrong or if things don't happen correctly, because anybody can do a good job when things are going well, right? It's how you deal with things when they're going badly that really matters, because not everything is perfect all the time, as we all know. And we are very passionate and proud about what we do, and that's a very key part of us as a reseller. We're part of the Bytes Group in the UK, which is sort of between 150 and 200 million pound business. Bytes Technology Group itself is a 700 to 1 billion business worldwide, which is part of the Ultron Group, which is a bigger than 2 billion pound business. So we're part of a big group. Ultron is a South African-based company. It's one of the top employers of South Africa. We always find it odd, for those who know us, John and myself, when we go to South Africa for meetings and things like that, and you're driving down the roads and you see Bytes signs everywhere and Ultron signs everywhere. It just reminds you, you know, it is a big company over there. What is the purpose of this webinar? Well, the purpose of this webinar is to talk about SmartEVENT. Those of you who've been to some of my update seminars before and have seen it will know that I'm quite passionate about SmartEVENT. I think it is a very, very good product. As Checkpoint has evolved over the last few years, we're at a point where you absolutely have to have SmartEVENT if you are turning on more than the basic firewall blades. You know, if you've got IPS, if you've got application control, you've got URL filtering, if you've got threat emulation, anti-bot, anti-malware, all this kind of stuff turned on, then really SmartEVENT is an absolute must to get the best out of that and to give you a dashboard of what's happening on your network. You know, SmartView Tracker is a great tool, but if somebody in HR comes and says, what has Joe Bloggs been doing on the network for the last 3 weeks, please can you give me a report, and all you've got available to you is SmartView Tracker, you're going to be crying into your coffee and very, very late night pizza while you try and put that together for them. You know, SmartEVENT not only gives you the ability to look at per user, it gives you to look at external threats, gives you the ability to pull everything together into a nice dashboard of what's happening with the network. But it's begun to creak. You know, the bottom line is, in the R77 builds of SmartEVENT, we are starting to see some performance issues. The searchability isn't there. You know, the product really as a whole, the whole Checkpoint product with all the different blades and everything, has outgrown what SmartEVENT can do. So what Checkpoint have done is they've taken opportunity to re-architect it from scratch, which is Next Generation SmartEVENT. And it is that Tom is going to show and talk about today. So I'll hand over to Tom. Tom is one of the senior Checkpoint SEs in the UK, also coincidentally a former member of staff that used to work for us a few years ago. So Tom, if you want to go through and get started, I'll hand over to you, mate. I'll make you the presenter.
Cool. Thank you, Dave.
All yours.
Right, good morning, everybody. So hopefully you can now all see my screen. My name is Tom Kendrick. I'm a security engineer at Checkpoint, as Dave said, and I work in the channel team. So the agenda for today, as Dave has briefly covered over, what I'm going to do is quickly go across, because there's some newer customers on the call and some existing customers. I'm just going to make sure that everyone's aware of what tools Checkpoint has available today. I'm going to discuss a little bit about how even today we can use SmartEVENT to discover some trends and some threats that are in the network, and I'll go into a couple of examples. I'll also discuss how we use some of the checkpoint tools within Checkpoint, and I'll give you a couple of examples that I use with some of my customers. So really just try and let you say, even for those customers that have SmartEVENT today, make sure you're getting the best use and best use of the product that you can. We'll then go on and discuss the Next Generation SmartEVENT as well. So that's the newer product that we've released, as Dave mentioned. So that came out with the new Smart One appliances. We'll discuss how the Next Gen SmartEVENT can help you with visibility and help you drill down and find the information that you need. And also, just while we're here, we'll have a very, very quick couple of slides just on the Threat Cloud IntelliStore. So some people have seen some marketing information from us on this, and I thought it was a great opportunity for helping everyone just to understand exactly what it is and exactly what it does. So, if we look at the login reporting tools available today within the Checkpoint products, they are numerous. But three that we're going to focus on. So, firstly, as Dave said, we have SmartView Tracker. SmartView Tracker has been with us since day dot. It's what everyone in the industry knows and trusts to have that visibility, and is still far away ahead of what some of the competition can do, because it's very graphical, it's very easy to see, that anyone, whether technical or not, can understand the logs. They can open the log, they can see it, they can understand it. It's nice and simple. In addition, everybody who is a current Checkpoint customer also has access to a tool called SmartLog. So I would suggest, and again, just as Dave mentioned, Tracker is one of the older tools now. SmartLog is probably going to replace Tracker. And the great thing about SmartLog is it's a bit more like almost like a Google search through all of your logs. So very fast, very scalable, great for multi-domain customers, great for customers with many, many gigs of logs coming in per day, because this lets you search really, really quickly across all of those logs. And then finally, we've got SmartEVENT. So SmartEVENT is a tool that we use for me, visualizing all of the data, all of the important security events from a high level, and then with the ability to drill in and get the detail if I need it, but all from one interface. Okay. So again, if we just take a look at what we have today in Tracker, we have the log filters down the left. We can obviously hide or only show specific technologies if we wish. We have the ability to do real-time updates, which again is superb when it comes to debugging and support. And then we have the log events in the center of the screen. And again, even that is something that many of the competition still can't achieve today. Now, as I said, we have SmartLog, and SmartLog is available for everybody. And the great thing with SmartLog is it goes that one step further. So yes, we still have the event logs, as you'll see in the center of the screen. You have the individual event card, so the entries on the right-hand side to show you what went on. You have a search field, so this is our Google-like search that we can type something in, and it will instantly filter the events in the event log and the event card and the top results. And on the left-hand side, we've got the top results, which again, as I type something in the search field, it will try and then filter down the results just to show me the top 10 as an example, hits against that type of event. One of the things that customers often don't realize that actually was designed into the product, you can see an example here, we've typed in application control. One of the things the product actually does is as you type in a search string into the search field at the top, the results that it shows, the event logs that it shows, the columns get adjusted dynamically depending on what you're searching for. So if I'm looking for something with the firewall, then I may be looking at IP addresses, usernames, ports, hosts. If I'm looking at something with applications, then actually I'm looking at very, very different columns. So the tool gets updated dynamically. And the final tool that we're going to discuss again and focus on today is SmartEVent. So SmartEVent is the high-level tool as we mentioned, and again a similar kind of idea. We have our filters across the top. We have our event timeline in the center, and our event timeline is highlighting for us all of the important things that we need to act upon. We have the important events at the bottom, and we have top events on the right. Now, to give you an example, I've been working with a fire and rescue service recently, and they were testing a Checkpoint product just on a week's trial. Now, they did have a number of external logging products, and they were looking at SmartEVent and thought it was one of those nice to haves. Maybe we'll do it in a project 6 months down the line, a year down the line. Let's see how we go. One of the great things that we did with this customer was we left them the SmartEVent GUI to work through, and we left them the SmartEVent GUI to have on their PC to keep an eye on what was going on. And the great thing that it highlighted for them was there was one PC in their network that was used as a shared PC, not turned on very often, just to do presentations. And as that PC came on, all of a sudden the configure virus on that machine kicked into life. And what this customer is able to see is instantly 276 events, all showing up as yellow, instantly advising him that something is going on and he needed to do some work. So this is the great difference it can make. And as Dave said, it stops you having to manually sort of click and check through all the different files themselves. Now, I suppose if we compare the tools, or the tools that we have on options, the options that we have with these tools, where we see these different tools used, Tracker we see in more simple environments where they're not necessarily using many of the advanced technologies. We are seeing a move across from Tracker to SmartLog, and the reason being, as I said earlier on, if you're doing lots and lots of logging, lots of log switching, or you have what's called a multi-domain, so multiple smart sensors all hosted on a big virtual platform, SmartLog lets you search cross-domain as well. Whereas Event is customers who have or need those details, those actionable items, let me sort the wheat from the chaff and let me get down to exactly what I need to see and do. Now, obviously, there's an impact on cost. Tracker and SmartLog are both included free of charge in the logging and status blade. Okay, but the big change that we've had with the new Smart One appliances is SmartEVent is now included for the first year with the new Smart One appliances. So as I say, comparing the three, I suppose the best feature of Tracker is great for hands-on debugging, great for the kind of the nerds, the techies, the guys that want to see stuff happening in that very, very second. SmartLog is again where people are tending to move to. So again for the debugging, but when they need the ability to search through many, many logs very fast, we've seen the move to SmartLog. And where customers have got many technologies from Checkpoint, or they want to take in some external feeds from Checkpoint or some other products, when they want real-time security information, that's when we tend to see them use SmartEVent. Okay. So I just want to go through a couple of things that, again, that are available today in the current SmartEVent that I don't always think people take best advantage of. So, as I said earlier on, the great thing with SmartEVent is it has what's called a correlation unit. And the correlation unit is a system that sits behind the scenes, and it's looking through all of the logs that are arriving in your log server. And you can have many, many log servers, many tens, hundreds, thousands of gateways across the world. What SmartEVent does is it looks through all of those logs and it tries to pick out patterns, events, things that we need to focus upon. Okay, that is a great way for you to cut through all of the extra information, extra logs, and see exactly what you need. When we double-click on any of those events, so what we call the donuts, the blobs of data, we can actually drill in and see all of the events instantly. And for example, we can group them just by criticality. So we know what we need to work on first. And the way that we tend to suggest that customers use SmartEVENT is to think of SmartEVENT as a little bit like a jury. So SmartEVENT gives you the evidence, it gives you the backup information to let you make better decisions about security within your network. The other thing that it has, as I showed you on the front screen, is what we call top filters. So for example, we can just look at the top sources for traffic, or just top sources based on event count, regardless of the technology that triggered the event. So again, you can drill in and say, well, hang on a minute, why is it that this machine has got a higher number of events compared to some of the others? Okay, so some great simple uses of it there. Now, one of the things that we do like customers to do, and again, something that I don't see them do enough of, so I want to just share it with you guys. SmartEVENT has got some really cool features to allow you to build queries that help you track your own significant network assets. So let's give you an example. You're the new security administrator of a company called Acme Corp. Okay, you've just been brought in, and they're a checkpoint house. You hear that from what you can see, they have a finance server, IP address 1.1.1.1, and you notice that the security policy isn't that great. It appears that everybody can access that finance server, and that's something that concerns you. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and write a query in a timeline, and we're going to try and look for traffic heading to our finance server. Now, again, because this customer is a little bit behind the times, they're not using identity awareness, you know that the guys in finance have got static IP addresses because that's how it was always done, and you know that 2224, 2225, and 222215 are the finance PCs. So in your mind, there shouldn't be any other hosts trying to reach any finance shares or any finance web apps. So in SmartEVENT, under the Events tab, you can create what's called custom queries. Okay, right-click, create new, give it a name. So we've got two here. We've got events to finance, traffic to finance. Right-click on them, properties and event query properties, and then we can tell SmartEVENT what we're interested in looking for. So in this example here, I've created a destination filter that says that I'm looking for traffic where the server name is server. Again, I'm not the most creative of people, but there we go. And what I'm looking to do is I want to group the results by product, so for example, checkpoint technology, by severity, so severity of the attack or the impact, and by source. And from the SmartEVENT overview screen, on the GUI that I can use, I can right-click and I can add those queries to my overview screen. So, when I then show the overview screen, what we can do is we can watch the data arriving in real time on SmartEVENT, and we can see our custom queries at the bottom here showing events to finance and also the traffic to finance. Okay, so let's say, for example, that's a bit more than we're expecting. Obviously, the color here indicates the risk or the risk level. So what we're doing here is we see that we've got a number of events taking place towards our finance server, and we want to drill in and take a look. Now, when we drill in and take a look, there's a couple of things that we can see. Instantly, we can see there's a repetitive SMB logon attempt. So somebody from multiple sources is attempting to log into our finance server and failing. And secondly, we can now see all of the sources that are trying to connect to our finance server. Now, obviously, as we said earlier on, we know the people who are part of the finance team, so we can right-click and we can do an exclusion filter on the source, and we can show that the 3 IP addresses in the 222 network, those guys that are part of finance, for example, we do not need to see them in our query. Okay, so we create a filter and we can exclude the finance PCs from this query. The result is, for us, what we now see is important data. Okay, so what we can instantly see now is that there are IP addresses in that network that are trying to transfer data to or from our finance server. And in a couple of cases, we've seen that that user has tried to connect to some shares and they're failing to log in. Okay, so this is the kind of ways that we can use SmartEVent, not with its basic out-the-box filters, but use it to get you some really valuable data from the logs that are appearing in your network. Now, as Dave mentioned, we have the Next Generation SmartEVent. So Next Generation SmartEVent, as Dave said, is actually off the back of a project that we have called R80. R80 is our brand new management product, and the back end, if you will, the back end database and the back end reporting and event correlation, that's a project that we were working on in parallel. And SmartEVent, or Next Generation SmartEVent, is the first product that has been released from that range. Now, the reason we've done this, obviously we're getting more and more devices, we're getting asked to connect more and more devices onto our network, so the result is we have more and more logs that we need to process. And at the same time, with more and more of these devices that are generally untrusted or third party, or the demands from the business to kind of let anyone and anything into certain areas of the network, the result is that we may have more security events taking place, and we need some analytical tools that can help us get to the bottom of what's going on. So, as was mentioned, we've actually released some new Smart One appliances. There's actually three classes. There's the Smart One, which covers the security management, event management, and logging. There's the Smart One Event, which is the event management and logging only. And there's also a third class, which I've not covered on here, which is for what we call log servers, so an MLM, which some of our larger customers also use. They've actually come out with 5 appliances. So one of the great things that Bytes helped us with when we're releasing or going through the release product process of these new appliances was there's now a 10 gateway appliance. Historically, we went right from the 5 up to the 25, and there was quite a big jump. So again, thanks to the work that Tish and Jay did with us with our product management team, we now have the 10 in there as well, in that product line. And again, one of the changes that we've seen is in the new Smart One appliances, you get the network and endpoint policy management, same as always. You get provisioning, and you also can include free of charge compliance for 1 year, and the compliance blade is Checkpoint's best practice to make sure your security policy is following the best practices advised by Checkpoint teams. And also SmartEVent is also included for 1 year as well. Okay, so the key thing to take from this is the compliance and the SmartEVent are included on the new Smart One appliances for 1 year. And obviously, if you want to extend that for future years, you can do so as well. The Smart One Event appliances, that's where we can use either the current version of SmartEVent that we've discussed so far, or the Next Generation SmartEVent, which we'll see in just a minute. And those devices come with SmartEVent as a service included for 4 years. And as I said, you can run it either the R77 based mode, or if, and again I would advise to, run it in the Next Generation SmartEVent mode if you can. So a couple of little useful highlights. As I said, the Smart Ones are, I suppose, a precursor to our new R80 product that's going to be released. But again, it can run the current product just fine. And it includes compliance in SmartEVent for 1 year. The Smart One for SmartEVent is for dedicated SmartEVent, and you can either run the current SmartEVent, so the R77 based, or the Next Generation SmartEVent, and the license for that is included for 4 years. Either way, all of the devices are more powerful, they all have more memory, and they all have more disk space. So let's try and show you a little bit what we've done. One of the things that's changed between the older Smart One appliances and the current Smart One appliances, historically we used to measure the number of logs that we could collect and store on the disk. And in the new Smart Ones, we actually have a different metric. For us, we now have what's called an indexed log rate. Okay, so this is logs that are indexed with smart log. So this is logs that you can instantly see and search. And as you can see, between the old devices and the new devices, it can be about 3 times more indexed logs per second compared to the older devices. The other thing that has changed, again, we want you to be able to store more data. So depending on how you're going to run the device, whether it's a log server or whether you're running it as a management server, not only can you put many, many more disks in so you can have more physical storage, but in addition, because of the way that we have changed how we've changed the types of RAID that we use, we can get about 3 times more useful storage from the same devices as well. Okay, so again, changing from RAID 5, from RAID 6, RAID 10s, to RAID 60s, 50s, for example. Okay, it gives you a bit of an example here. And as we discussed, the other key thing for us was to make sure that the data that did come in, that landed on the disk, that got indexed, it had to be correlated very quickly, and it had to be viewable and usable and processable very, very fast in the reports. So this is just the front screen from the Next Generation SmartEVENT GUI, and this is really what it's all about. So the key features for this release were to be able to analyze 10 times more logs and events per day, and to give you faster results, faster views, faster queries. Okay. It also has the smart search. So just like you had in Smart Log, SmartEVENT also has a smart search where you can, again, query data really, really fast and get directly to the results that you need. And one of the massive, massive improvements that I've been waiting for a number of years, and I know some of the existing customers have, there is also the new reporting that's built into the product. And you'll see it in just a minute. It's massively customizable, and hopefully there to cater for every need that you may have. And the reason the reports are done the way that they are, the reason we're trying to give you this additional customization is really I suppose the old reports were relatively static. They were quite fixed. And for us, what we wanted to do with the new SmartEVENT is to give each of the different audiences their right level of data, their right interest of data. So for example, security admins, they may be concerned more with malicious activity. C-level execs, they're more looking at trends. Are we using more? Are we using less? How's our internet doing? Are we being productive? Whereas department managers may be concerned more specifically with their individual group, their individual team, the people that they are responsible for. So that's why we've got that slight difference. Now, for those that haven't seen it, this is the reporting section within the new SmartEVENT. And again, instantly you can see it's far more colorful, far more user-friendly, far more up-to-date. But the really clever stuff comes when we try and do any editing. So I click on the edit button, and from there I can decide which page I want to edit. So let's say I pick a page from my report. Now from here, I can see all the data is actually live. So this report is created, this data is queried and reported on live as I am editing this table now. So that's how fast this tool is. Now, let's say, for example, I want to add an additional widget onto the page. So I click on the widget and I give it a name. So Severe Attacks Timeline, that's the name of the new chart or widget I'm going to add in. I can decide what kind of chart I want. So let's say I want a timeline view, and I can pick the severity level of the chart, the chart results I want to see. So instantly from there, I've added in something that was impossible in the old version, but now completely doable, completely customizable, and as I press save, it's done. Okay, the report is now saved, and obviously I can generate that report if I wish. Also, one of the other things that was asked for from customers was to make sure that these reports are easily sendable. So we can schedule the reports, and we can obviously PDF them and email them out to whoever needs to get the messages. Okay, so we can make sure that the right people get the right data instantly. Now, as I said, the other thing that the new GUI allowed us to do was from the overview screen in SmartEVENT. Let's say, for example, there's a machine that's come onto the network that's been compromised somehow, and we want to find out what's going on. So we may see a warning that says this machine has been compromised, and if we double-click on that machine, what will happen is we can see only the event specific to that machine. So again, maybe where the machine was, where was the attack come from, what type of attack was it, have we had previous occurrences of it, what happened around the time that this machine was brought into the network, can we track anything back, and we've got that one click to try and get exactly to the data around the events that have taken place. And as I said, I can't emphasize this strongly enough, the speed of the new product is astonishing. To give you an example, we run checkup reports of our customers. We often powerful machines to churn through the data, and it may take maybe overnight or a few hours to churn through the data. Now, what we have found is comparing the old R77 or the current R77 product, what may have taken a few minutes to create a weekly threat prevention report, in Next Generation SmartEVENT, it turns into a few seconds. Okay, so significant difference in querying the data, getting the data. The strength is because the data has already been indexed. We are going and we are grabbing the index results very, very fast. We're not having to run the queries in the same way as we did in the old products. So again, just to summarize the Next Gen SmartEVENT, for us, it's a huge, huge change behind the scenes, and it's proved to be really, really well received with customers that are using it so far. It's giving them the visibility that they want. It's taking and allowing them to crunch big data, lots of events, and take the kind of the query time down to seconds. And again, for us, in the model that Checkpoint use, the STP model, allows us to say, regardless of your device, regardless if it's a network device, if it's an endpoint device, if it's mobile, if it's cloud, we see all of those logs in one place. We see them all come together, and for us, we can then query that data and get you the access to see the threats trying to attack the network very, very fast. And again, as I say, Next Gen SmartEVENT is available now on the new Smart One event appliances. Now, the last thing that I want to just cover off is Threat Cloud IntelliStore. Now, one of the things that we see as Checkpoint, we are asked to go in to see some customers where there's been security events, and often they're looking for advice. Often they're looking for guidance. Often they're looking for some assistance when they're trying to make a decision on whether this event, whether this thing, this malware, was it good, was it bad, should we block it? Okay. Now, Threat Cloud IntelliStore is a project that we've been working on behind the scenes, and the reason that we've done this is because really there's been such a big or large growth in the types of malware that we're going from many thousands of bits of malware to tens of thousands, hundreds, millions of bits of malware and variants. And it makes it very difficult for us as security administrators who maybe have maybe a historical network security background to move into a world that's very, I suppose, almost bordering on the content and the malware side that maybe we didn't have the experience with in our careers. So just to kind of let you know where this fits in, for those that have not heard about it, software-defined protection is Checkpoint's blueprint for security and how we designing our current and future products. If you haven't seen it, obviously speak to one of the guys from Bytes. I know Dave and I went around the country and did a number of events on this. But the key thing here is the threat prevention layer, or the threat prevention elements that fit inside our control layer. They are things that, in general, we as a checkpoint believe you guys should not need to understand every single piece of malware, what's good, what's bad, what do you need to do. Ultimately, what you want is a control layer that says, when it comes to security policies, when it comes to access control, data protection, those are the things that you as a customer can control. Only you know what should flow around your network, what data should flow around your network, what applications should be allowed into and out of the network. But when it comes to threat prevention, generally there's such a world of expertise in that field alone. What we say is, let us do that for you, and you call upon us from your security gateways, from your enforcement layer. You ask the threat prevention layer, I've seen this file, is it good, is it bad? And we will go out and get you that result in real time. Now, for those of you that have probably heard the term, this relies on a back-end environment called Threat Cloud. So Threat Cloud is our back-end intelligence environment where we take a number of feeds from checkpoint gateways, from our research team, from global sensors, and from external feeds. Okay, so Threat Cloud has been around since 2012. Now, to give you some kind of headline figures, we are looking at millions and millions of addresses in Threat Cloud. We are hosting over 11 million malware signatures, nearly 3 million malware-infested sites that we're aware of, and one of the great things that with Checkpoint customers can share data back with our cloud, so back with our Threat Cloud, and what that means is if, for example, a 0-day is detected in customer X, and that customer is running our threat emulation technologies, if they will and they share that hash of that file back to Checkpoint, we can make sure that every around the world can also be protected to make sure that they do not get infected with that piece of malware. Okay, and it ends up with about 400,000 updates per day. So a huge database behind the scenes, where again we kind of host the big data, we do all the work behind the scenes. Your gateways, your managers, your policies, they don't need to. Let us do that. Now, obviously as well, there are other sources of data intelligence or threat intelligence. And a number of our customers, they go out to these external providers and they buy the external feeds from these providers, but it's still discrete, isolated sources of data. Okay, so there's some great companies out there that are doing a huge amount of malware research, but it's all an individual feed, and you have to manually import these feeds historically into a system. So, for example, you can do this in Checkpoint, and it's something that becomes a bit of a labour and a bit of an awkward task. So what we've done is we, behind the scenes, have come up with a single and proactive solution, and that is our Threat Cloud IntelliStore. Okay, so the Threat Cloud IntelliStore is our cyber intelligence marketplace out in PartnerMap, where you as customers can go via Bytes and discuss purchasing additional threat intelligence feeds. And from those feeds, we can give your gateways additional sources of data when they see traffic passing through the gateway. Okay, so to visualize it, what happens is on the left-hand side, we can individual feeds by geography, by industry, or by the type of attack that you guys may be vulnerable to. You bring those feeds into your Threat Cloud IntelliStore, and then in Threat Cloud, we take the IntelliStore feed and the feeds that you would have got from your existing checkpoint technologies, so anti-bot, antivirus, for example. And what happens is then as malware tries to pass through the gateway, or as someone tries to get infected or be infected with something bad, what happens is the gateway doesn't just query the original checkpoint feed, but it also queries the IntelliStore feed at the same time. Okay, so it gives you more confidence on blocking the bad things that are going on. So for us, we see this as actionable intelligence. It comes from a range of sources that are external to Checkpoint, but organizations that we partnered with. It gives you proactive protection, so it's something that gets enforced at the gateway, obviously dynamically, instantly, just by taking one of the feeds. And the really, really clever thing is for us, you don't need to make any changes to your environment. In fact, you can subscribe to one of the evaluation feeds if you're a 7720 customer. So if you're running our 77.20, you can subscribe to the evaluation feeds in Checkpoint Partner Map or in the checkpoint.com site, and even doing nothing, your gateway will check in every few hours and notice that it has these additional feeds available to it, and again you can see what the software can do for you. Okay? So, in summary from me before we come back to Dave, for us, because of the new SmartEVENT, because of the new management product, because of the proliferation of IPv6, the ever-increasing data that we need to hold and to capture and to work through, we have released the new Smart One appliances, and they're ready for those challenges to see you through the next 20 years or more of Checkpoint. One thing I would say, as I discussed earlier on, don't forget the really useful functionality that's available in SmartEVENT today. Okay, there's some really, really clever stuff that's available, and just a short couple of hours time spent with it, it can give you some great feedback, some great insight into your network, and help you make better decisions. Now, when it comes to actionable real-time protections and visibility, as we said, you have SmartEVENT or you have Next Gen SmartEVENT. Both of those are available to you now. Okay, they're available on the new Smart One appliances. Now, often, and again, as I said earlier on, when it comes to attacks, yes, we want to block the attack. That's great. That's what we should be doing. But what we often get from our customers is, how did it start? Where did it come from? And actually, that's where SmartEVENT can make you so much faster in tracking back. For example, someone had a laptop that was off the network. It had no malware protection on it. It was a partner PC. It comes onto the network, lands on your wireless, bad things start to happen. Okay, that's where we can track back and say, this is how it happened, this is where it came from, this is what you can do. Now, as I said, the final thing with regard to the IntelliStore feeds, some of our customers do find it difficult because there's this additional concept of malware, of these additional bad sites that are springing up all over the shop. If you are finding it difficult to make decisions about threats, obviously you have the Checkpoint Blades for anti-malware that are available today. But in addition, if you want the additional comfort and feedback, the IntelliStore feeds are there for you. Okay? So at this point, any questions? We're going to hand back across to Dave, and we'll open the floor just to get questions. And also, as far as demonstrations, if you need to see demonstrations of the product, be it SmartEVENT or Next Gen SmartEVENT, then obviously don't hesitate to give us a shout. We can try and help you out. Okay, so Dave, back to you.
Thanks very much, Tom. So obviously you've all seen everything Tom had to show there, which is fantastic. He's obviously been through the new product, etc., etc. Really, it's for you guys now to ask any questions that you have and go from there. So the first question, Tom, when will it be available for open server? It's the first question we've had.
Okay, so the hotfix for Open Server we have as Checkpoint employees now. We are releasing it to a limited number of Checkpoint customers. So if you are keen to take a look at it, if you can make sure that Shona or Dave has your details, we can organise you getting of that.
Okay, cool. That was the first one we had. Have we had any other questions from anybody? Anybody else got anything else they want to ask? Let's give it 30 seconds. I think Tom and I both predicted that one actually in terms of when will it be available for Open Server, because it was it's one that we were talking about just before the session started. Okay, no additional questions. So everybody, thank you very much. If you do have any questions, then either come back to Shona or myself, or come back to your account manager through the normal routes. Tom, thank you very much for that. And
No problem.
everybody, thank you very much for joining us today. We will see you all soon. Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.